Hi everybody, Charis here, and I did not expect to record a video for you today, but I had this really great epiphany that I would love to share with you. And please excuse me if I'm not super clear because it really just happened today and I'm still integrating it myself, so I might be a little bit more windy than I ordinarily am. You know I'm ordinarily pretty windy, so there's your disclaimer. Okay, so here's what happened. So the date that I'm recording this video is on December 24th, 2014. So here in the area of the world I live, which is in right now Arizona in the US, Christmas is a big deal, right? So tomorrow is Christmas Day and today is Christmas Eve, which is the day that everyone kind of does their last preparations for Christmas Day. And so in the collective unconscious around here, there's this really Christmassy vibe. And the reason I even know that, I hadn't thought much about it, but this morning, I woke up and I've had a really good past few days. I mean, I'm generally a happy person, but sometimes I peak out, and lately I have been. I'm kind of starting to come out of my winter hibernation after the solstice. I've been exercising more, I've been meditating more, getting kind of my strength back, and also I've been drinking for the past couple days a lot of water, and more than usual. I've decided to do an experiment where I drink a glass of water, like a tall glass of water on the hour every hour, and see what happens to my energy, because I did that years ago and felt amazing, and my skin was amazing, and my mood was amazing, and so it's hard for me to drink water. I tend to forget, and the glass of water sits there all day. So what I've been doing is walking myself into the kitchen and just chugging it every hour on the hour, so I don't have to remember to drink it, and it gets done. And that's gotten my vibe so high, especially because when you chug a glass of water, you can imbue it with intention. So mine tends to be, I receive whatever it is I'm trying to receive at that time. So my vibe was really great for the past few days. And then this morning, something kind of popped. And I realized it was popping through a barrier. And I even realized it at the time because logically that was what was going on, because I recognize the signs at this point to tell you where you are in your little constantly moving, looping, spiraling journey, right? And so I felt all of a sudden, for no reason, zero reason. In fact, I had a very nice time these past few days, so there's no logical reason that this could attach itself to. I felt fresh hatched and clumsy. I know that sounds really funny, but I felt like my body wasn't working right. I mean, I would walk down the hallway and I was cold. I couldn't get warm, and it wasn't cold in here. What else was it like? I felt sad, and I felt some kind of sense of sorrowful injustice, and I had no reason to feel these ways. And so a couple things came up for me. First, I realized that I might be empathing the holiday blues, right? Because that Christmas and the turn of the year is a big time where a lot of people struggle with depression and sadness. And I think some of that is seasonal. I think some of it's because it's cold and the sun's not out as much. But I also think it has to do with the various energies flowing in people's self-image and lots of stuff, lots of reasons, right? Doesn't really matter for this conversation. So I think I was probably feeling some of that. But also, when I was a child, my family did not celebrate Christmas or birthdays because of the religion that I was raised into. And so I think there was also some sense of confusion when I recognized the Christmas vibe around me because I didn't participate in it. And so I had a lot of conflicting things inside of me. I was taught that it wasn't the right thing to do, but I looked around at the people doing it and it seemed like it was fine to my own inner sense. So there was lots of warring in my little childhood energy, emotional body, right? And so it could have been all those things, and I think it was a combination of all of them, actually. But the important one is what happened next. So it is a really great thing and something that I'm very grateful for and proud of that I've accumulated, and also that I would recommend all of you guys to do, is having a bunch of energy healers as friends, because we kind of tend to group together. And if you are in a group of people who's also consciously evolving and trying to merge mind and heart and body and spirit and live in a universe where we are responsible and epic and growing and not in denial about anything and moving forward, then you're gonna be at the forefront of whatever it is you and your homies are working on, right? And so what me and my peeps usually do is things with conscious manifestation, healing, evolution, and creating, right? That kind of stuff. So whenever we're coming up against a block, we can kind of send out our little lifesaver requests to all of our friends. And I had a group, 3 or 4 I'm texting with it as I'm going through this block, who were ushering me through it. And since you can connect energetically, some of them weren't even. Some of them just read my text and said, oh, I'll have time in a while, but it didn't matter. All I needed was their thought coming my way, and then that helped me to kind of pop through. And some of them were more hands-on with it and helped walk me through it and stuff like that, and that was fantastic too. And whatever you need in your own reality, it will come to you if you open yourself up to receiving it, because once I realized I was in this block, before I started to send out my little help me please requests to my friends, is that I made an intention as I was realizing I was deep in this thing that I wanted to call in, please, light beings, angelics, to help me to pop through whatever this is with grace and with love. And then I also called in my shadow guides, because shadow guides are excellent for taking you through the pieces of yourself that you don't want to look at, that you don't want to claim, that you're afraid of, or that you're saddened by. And I asked them to help in a way that was embodied and real and useful, right? Pragmatic. And everyone worked together. And I asked of both sides, shadow and light, to work together to create something that was more than the sum of its parts, right? Because I think that's what we're supposed to actually be doing here. So, talking to my friends, they're helping usher me through, and then all of a sudden, something else popped inside of me. And it's really fascinating because I can't quite put words on it yet. It's just a feeling, okay? So the feeling was one of expansion, activation, purification. And it actually wrote in, the moment that it wrote on words of Abraham-Hicks. So I tend to, maybe once every 1 or 2 years, go through about a month where I listen to a lot of Abraham-Hicks, because they really know their stuff, and it's really great when you're trying to shift stuff up in your world. And so when the year is ending and beginning and you're really focusing on what you want to create, what you have done, taking stock, I think that's a great time to listen to them. So for instance, I've been listening to them every morning in the gym when I'm just doing random stuff that I need hands for, but not necessarily mental focus. I have them playing in the background. And so I did today, as I was kind of puttering around and texting my friends and had them playing and processing this thing. And the words that this epiphany bubble popped on were Esther Hicks saying, make yourself feel as good as you can feel right here and now. And that's something that they say a lot, and that's something that anytime you're talking to someone about manifestation, law of attraction kind of stuff, that's one of the premises. But something about the wording of it, make yourself feel as good as you can feel right here and now, which is not, manifest this thing, think about it really hard, try to puff up the feeling of that thing not being there and then release it, which is a classic manifestation trick that does work if you can puff up that feeling and really feel it and release it and then release resistance when it's coming in. It's a totally different thing than looking around right here in your location and now in your timeline, not here in your location tomorrow night or here in your location last week when that really great thing happened. But here right now with whoever's around, might be nobody. For me, it wasn't anyone except for my cat, who's amazing. Actually, no, she wasn't here when it happened. She came in a couple minutes later, and her energy was like, you are really popping off in there. What is it? She felt my epiphany. Forgot about that. That's something the animals will do. So anyway, make yourself feel as good as you can feel right here and now. And that came along with these energy waves from my friends, along with this processing stuff, along with the request that guidance come in and help me through this in a multidimensional perspective as well, to benefit everyone in all the dimensions, to any measure that it would affect them at all. And it happened, and nothing changed in my reality. But something happened inside me, and then stuff started to change. Then different messages started popping up saying, it's funny because talking about completely different things, but affirming what I was experiencing. And when you get a really big shift in your reality, when you get really good news or when you get really bad news, and you keep forgetting it and remembering it, that started to happen to me. But it wasn't with any factual thing. It wasn't with an experience or a knowledge or a specific piece of information. It was with a vibration. And it felt like I kept kind of stuttering on this really delicious thing. So I'd pop back through into my normal vibe, which was slightly below, because obviously an epiphany is going to bring you up. And I would start feeling kind of doldrumy again without noticing it because it was very subtle. And then all of a sudden, rip, I'd remember. And it felt like, and this is really fascinating for me in my personal blocks, it felt like the way you would feel when you wake up and remember that it's your birthday or remember that it's Christmas. I know that feeling because I felt it before with other things, not as predictable as that because I didn't celebrate those holidays when I was little. So this is something in my own personal, unique anatomy of consciousness and energy that I hadn't really integrated into my system, and I'd kind of, I think deep in felt like I didn't deserve it for some reason because kids explain stuff in weird ways, right? And so all of a sudden, this particular energy started just stuttering inside of me, and I had to pause the Abraham-Hicks video because I needed to write it down, and what came out of me was kind of, if you look at how it's written, it's kind of poetry-like, and I'm not a poet. I write more long-winded and lots of stuff, but you can see how it's kind of got stops and starts in it. And it came out that way. It had to. I didn't have much of a choice. And I was also sitting in a spot of sunlight, and the sunlight falling across was giving me what felt like direct kind of chi to help me write this thing out, because so much energy was coming through me when I did it that I was swept away by it. Okay. And so what I wrote was kind of the answer to that Abraham-Hicks quote, which was, make yourself feel as good as you can feel right here and now. And so then I asked, as I'm writing on the stutter, how can I bring this in? How can I make it settle in to myself and keep this epiphany, not just have it fade away, which, some happens either way sometimes. So this is what I wrote. And so let this sink in if you want to. I see the beauty around me, which means just look around anything. Even if there's nothing beautiful, you look up at the sky and see the beautiful sky. Something, just anything. I see the beauty around me. I feel the gloriousness that it is to feel. And that felt like straight from the angelics, right? Okay, so feeling whatever it is you feel, the point is just to say, I feel the gloriousness that it is to feel it all. So it could be that you're feeling pain, but even still feeling is delicious. That's not available to every creature in the universe. It isn't something that we came here to revel in. I perceive my connectedness. So in whatever way you perceive, you might feel it, you might think it, you might picture it, you might smell it, who knows. I perceive my connectedness and my individuality. It's an important piece. So both proud of the deliciousness of being connected, and also this is the thing I've made, me, this time, this self is something that I've worked on, and I perceive it, and I appreciate it, I see it there. And I rejoice at my aliveness. And you can do this no matter what's going on, you can always rejoice at your aliveness. Even if you're in deep tears, you can rejoice at your aliveness. Next step, to go forward. I realize I am moving. We're always going somewhere. Nothing is static. I choose to slingshot toward what is even better than anything I have ever felt before. I choose to slingshot toward what is even better than anything I have ever felt before. And that is the loophole to set yourself free from the deepest, darkest, most painful, most traumatized, most scared, most angry parts of yourself. That's how the shadow came up. And the light came in to bless it. Gloriousness. Who says gloriousness things? Come on. Okay. So that's for you guys. And I'll write the whole thing in the comments below if you just want to read it too. The description of this video. So use it if you want. Oh, also, from now till 1/1/15, so today's the 24th, I'm opening up all of the past recorded classes on my website, so all the direct download classes I have for 11/11. I just want to kind of do a little blast of abundance out there, and $11.11, that's not really much of anything. So if you've ever been interested in anything I've taught that ended up going for direct download, then you can head over to my site and see if it's there for you. And like I said, this goes until 1/1. 11s and 1s, why not? It's a time of manifestation, ending in the beginning of the year. So much love, you guys. Go in peace. I hope my epiphany has brought you a little bit of niceness, and I will see you guys up there on the outskirts.